Okay, so we're going to talk about how to add, subtract from shapes in perspective. Now, rather than having our vanishing points on the page, we're actually going to imagine that our vanishing points are off the page. So if I draw let's go for a horizon line quite high up, all the way across. If I've got my horizon line there, in the past we've been putting our vanishing points here and here. But I want you to imagine that those vanishing points are way off the page, so we don't have such an aggressive taper. Okay, so say they're another A4 page off to the right, you've got a vanishing point, same to the left. Okay, and this will make a bit more sense as we go through this video. So what I'm going to do, as always, is I'm going to start with a vertical line, and then I'm going to imagine my vanishing point over here somewhere, and I'm going to draw off to it. Same from the top, there's a vanishing point over in the distance, and these lines don't look like it, but they would eventually meet. Okay, so if I put that pencil there and that pencil there, you can see that there is, in fact, a slight taper towards the vanishing point that's over in this direction. I'm going to do exactly the same for the left-hand side, and I'm going to, in fact, let's draw them first. Go off in this direction, and one off in that direction. And again, these two would, if I get that line there and that line there, you can see they would eventually meet. Okay, but this is stopping our perspective being quite so aggressive and a bit more realistic. From there, I want to add my vertical lines. So these stay the same. There's no change. They need to be perfectly parallel to each other. And then from this point, I'm going off to the to the vanishing point on the right. And the same with this one, going off to the vanishing point on the left. And again, that would meet this one off in the distance. Same with this side, those would eventually meet off in the distance. So there's my initial shape. From there, I could potentially take something away from it. So I could take a section out of this front corner, and I'm going to have some vertical lines, like so. But now my vanishing point lines, my horizontal lines, I suppose, need to go off to this vanishing point. So from here, I'm going to draw a line that I'm imagining is going back to the vanishing point way off in the distance. Same on top, from where this point meets this cross, we're going to be going back in the distance, parallel-ish, not quite parallel, but tapering with these two lines. Same from here, going back with this line and this line, so roughly in between what that angle is, and the same on the top between these two lines in this direction. Okay, and that will give me my part that has been subtracted or taken away, cut out on this front corner. Now there are some lines missing. I need from this point to go off into the distance because we've taken a section away, and from this point to go off into this distance. Okay, and you need to be careful here that you make sure that you're following these lines in this direction, and where that vertical line meets, we've got that section there. Okay, so hopefully you can see now, as I draw into this and make it a bit darker, we have taken a section off that front corner, just like this. I'll make this a bit darker as well. Hopefully you can kind of see what's going on there. We could also add something to it. So let's say on this side, we want a vertical line here. We want some part of our section to be sticking out, extruded out. So from here, we're going to draw across, and it's going to go to this vanishing point off in the distance. So from that point, we've got the base face, and then we need something that sticks out, as I said. So this can be quite complicated, but from this corner, we want to imagine that we are drawing a line back that's coming through. Okay, so it's coming from this vanishing point through this point and out the other side. Okay, so following these lines. Same from this top point here, same from this point over here. Okay, so all these lines would be going back to a vanishing point off in the distance over here. I can then add a vertical, like so, and this time I'm going in this direction, so following this line off to this vanishing point from here, pretty much the same angle, follow that down vertically, and from this corner off to a vanishing point over in the distance there. Okay, and what we now have is a cuboid that sticks out from my shape. Key thing to think about, vertical lines, these ones are perfectly vertical. My vanishing point lines, or my lines going back, are going towards the vanishing point over here. Okay, so they're not parallel to each other, they taper off into the distance. And these lines going off to the right taper off into this distance here. We can add something that's been cut out on this front part. So if I go vertically and vertically, and then follow this line towards this vanishing point. Same with this line down here. And then from this corner, if it's been cut out, we're going to have a section that's removed. So this is going to go off towards this vanishing point in the back left distance. Something like so. And now the eye thinks that we have got that bit taken out. So you can see quite easily you can add different shapes to it. Let's just add one final bit. Let's add something that sticks up from this corner here. So let's go vertically from this section, vertically from this section. Going back, following this line to this vanishing point, vertically from there. Going back towards the vanishing point again. Towards the vanishing point. We haven't got much space here. You can kind of see what's going on, hopefully. And then we've got a section on here that has been extruded up as well. Now this top face, because we're getting quite close to the horizon line, it means that the perspective is being squished a little bit, which is quite hard to actually understand what is going on. But hopefully you can see what is happening. As I draw over the top a bit darker, it should make more sense to people. So there's your verticals. Here, here, and here, there is your parts going off to the back left. Now, thinking about that, we've got these vertical lines like so, nice and easy. This vertical line here, this vertical line. But the bit that's going to be confusing and probably quite tricky for people are these lines. Okay, so our green line going off to this vanishing point. All of these going over here. And here, coming out. So they're all going to meet at vanishing point over in this direction. And then our blue lines going off to the left are all going to go to the opposite vanishing point over this side. So you can kind of see now how those lines would all eventually meet. So if I get this original one with close vanishing points from a previous video, you can see how these green lines go and meet over here, and these blue lines meet over here. It's exactly the same. Green lines would eventually meet over here somewhere, and the blue lines would do exactly the same. So have a little play. It's quite complicated. Add, subtract shapes, come up with some different types. Stick to cubes and cuboids for now, and we'll introduce some harder shapes shortly.